Welcome back to another edition of Coffee Time with TD. Move over, Rova, and let TD take over. Be good or be good at it. God is great, always in, always. Happy Friday. I hope you've had an absolutely wonderful week, but you have an even better weekend. Spend it with family, spend it with loved ones, and have an absolutely wonderful time. So it looks like this President Donald Trump, Billy Big Bollocks, Putin summit is actually going to happen. Here's my thing that I do not understand, and I think ultimately it comes down to the fact that Putin knows that he can prey on President Donald Trump, right? And I think that all Putin is trying to do now is get to the winner, right? Another winner in Russia, another winner in Ukraine, right? And I think that he knows that he can prey on President Donald Trump. Because here's my thing. How is the war going to end without Zelenskyy? Explain that to me. Make it make sense. How can anything come to a ceasefire or end the war without Zelenskyy in the room? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I know President Donald Trump and his delusions of grandeur and the ultimate deal maker and all this other stuff. But the truth of the matter is, all that's going to happen is that Putin is going to prey on President Donald Trump. And Putin knows he can prey on President Donald Trump, Billy Big Bollocks, because look what's happened all the way up until this point, right? Putin has preyed on President Donald Trump. So my expectations for this, as I said, are absolutely nothing. And the unfortunate thing is because President Donald Trump has delusions of grandeur, that the next day after this big summit between Putin and Trump, and don't get me wrong, I think also a lot of this has to do with the headline, right? Because all of this is a reality TV show to President Donald Trump. All of it's a reality TV show, ratings, right? So what has dominating the news line around the world? Trump-Putin summit. That is what has dominated the news line, as well as, you know, what Israel said about taking over Gaza, and I'm going to get to that in the next video. But the biggest thing that has dominated world news is this big summit between Trump and Putin. And we know that President Donald Trump, Billy Big Bollocks, lives for ratings. That's what he lives for, right? This is one big fucking reality show to President Donald Trump. Full stop, end of. So anyone who has any unrealistic expectations of anything coming from this other than the next day, Putin and Russia will bomb the shit out of Ukraine, is sorely misinformed. Sorely misinformed. Again, President Donald Trump, has delusions of grandeur, the ultimate deal maker, all that other stuff. And like I said, just have realistic expectations. Because nothing can come to an end, no ceasefire agreement, no anything can happen without Zelenskyy in the room. That's it, full stop, end of. And Putin knows, listen, Trump's getting the headline, and Putin knows he can prey on Trump and get whatever he wants out of this quote-unquote summit. Right? And that's the truth, full stop, end of. It gets both people what they want. Trump gets the headlines, and Putin gets to prey on Trump, and then the next day bomb the shit out of Ukraine because Trump has delusions of fucking grandeur. Full stop, end of. That's all that's going to happen with this, and it makes me fucking sick because the Ukrainian people are hurting and dying. There is only one enemy in this world when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, and it is Russia and Putin. But we also both want to know that President Donald Trump's probably excited about meeting Putin because that's who he aspires to be. A dictator and a tyrant. Let me know what you think. Love you.